when we first started our podcast, we had to get like probably 3 or 4 different websites and services going at once to record it, to edit it, to host it, and then have it approved through iTunes. And now we use Anchor by Spotify, where it's just a one-stop shop where you can record, edit your podcast, and when you distribute it, it'll go to all the platforms. So it's just everything right in one place. And the best thing is it's totally free. So if you want to get started, if you're on the fence about starting a podcast, or if you have a podcast and you want to make it simpler, download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Welcome to the Think Fitness Life podcast, where we bring the mind, body, and gym together so you can improve your health, increase performance, and live your best life. For more information, visit thinkfitnesslife.com. Here are your hosts, Matt Gluckman and Eric Menchie.
Back to the Think Fitness Life podcast, mindset, exercise, nutrition, with your hosts Matt Gluckman and Eric Menchie. This week, we're going to be talking about alcohol and exercise. This is a really big topic because there's a wide variety of information that's out there. You often hear a lot of people talking about how either it's extremely toxic and it's poison to the body and you need to avoid it at all costs. And then you have the side where people talk about, 1 to 2 drinks a day is good for your health. And I think a lot of this comes down to appeasing popular culture. So let's just go ahead and dive into some of the studies and talk about some of the specifics around the way that alcohol affects the body, and particularly affects the way that you're going to get training adaptations from the work that you're putting in the gym or on the field. So first kind of big question I want to answer for people is what I hear a lot is how long after exercising can you drink alcohol without affecting the training effect? It's a great question. People want to hit the gym, and it might be like a Friday night, or maybe they have the day off and it's a Thursday and they want to go up skiing, so they work out first thing. They want to go enjoy a few drinks and relax, and they're wondering how detrimental is it to the work they just did.
I guess we got to kind of ruin people's party here, and it is going to be detrimental. It's unfortunate. It's one of those things that alcohol is a poison. So when you do put it in your body, it's going to affect your adaptations. There's no rhyme or reason. I really don't think, to answer the question of timing, there's not really a good time, because it's still going to impact the system no matter what. And alcohol can last up to, in your system, up to about 72 hours, depending on where it is in the system, whether it's in the liver, the blood, it will make its way through the system. But that means it's still in your system. So your body is still dealing with that effects, and we will get into that in a bit. Post-workout, though, studies have shown that it is going to reduce muscle protein synthesis by 24%. So what that means is, how do you want to call it? Basically, roughly 25% of your adaptations aren't going to happen. So it's going to, if you're looking to build muscle mass or increase any sort of like metabolic capacity that way, you're going to get affected by that, because the muscle protein synthesis will be reduced to an extent. And this extent could last longer depending on how many drinks you have. So that's the other factor that we always have to take in consideration here, is how much alcohol you actually putting in your body, because the half-life of ethanol, which is our body's way of metabolizing it, is 4 to 5 hours. That means half of your alcohol that you drank is already being metabolized 4 to 5 hours. So if you have 3-4 drinks, you're now backing up the process longer. So we're probably looking at anywhere from 8 to 10 hours, which is going to affect your next day recovery.
And essentially, just to bring this back down to a level that I even understand it, is protein synthesis is going to be the process of your body creating more protein molecules. Correct. So repairing muscle tissue, repairing the actin myosin from the little micro tears from exercising, and then creating the building blocks to grow that muscle as well, like more glycogen that goes in the muscle. So when your body is stimulated in this direction to grow, repair, and then you add alcohol into the equation, Well, now you've just changed the job for your body, and it now has to go and metabolize that alcohol before it goes back to the protein synthesis. And that's why it knocks it down about 25%. And then in the study that you referenced, Eric, which we can include in our show notes at the end for anyone who wants to
This is
further
a big
read,
study.
what was the time for it to not affect your performance anymore? Was it 24 hours after drinking? Was it 48 hours after drinking?
So this one really didn't have a specific time about drinking in post, because the tough thing is, it says in the article, everyone metabolizes alcohol differently. Women metabolize it way different than men. We can metabolize it a little bit faster. It has a different effect on women's metabolism completely across the board. Whole different topic for a different day. But what I've been reading and they're saying is like the liver effects, your hangovers, they're going to go about like 8 to 10 hours, right? That's going to be in your system but that's if you're drinking a lot. It can be in your blood up to 12 hours post. So it's still in your bloodstream 12 hours post. So if your body's still dealing with that alcohol the next day, it can still be impeding muscle protein synthesis. And with this, the research article also stated that with muscle protein synthesis being decreased, it's also affecting your mTOR, so your mechanistic target of rapamycin complex. That is going to drive muscle growth. That's going to drive cell growth or any process. So it is actually taking enzymes and slowing them down. It is impeding enzymes from working. And not only does this do that at the mTOR level, it also does that at the hormonal level, the mitochondrial level, which we will get into. This impedes your antioxidants, your body's natural antioxidants, from actually working and doing their jobs. And this is where people get in trouble with cell issues and DNA issues, because it causes all damage. We'll get that. But back to the timing. So 12 hours in the blood, breath, it can be up to 24 hours. That is you expiring alcohol vapors up to 24 hours. In your urine, 10 to 12. Saliva, 1 to 5 days.
But was there something about affecting performance? Was there something about alcohol being in the body affecting performance up to a certain period of time?
So with that information that you have, kind of going into how this can affect your performance, well, that alcohol still being in your system is going to impair your ability to perform at the highest level, whether you're a workout, game, surroundings. So what this can do is it's going to affect everything, your brain, your heart, your muscles. If it goes there, you're going to get a decrease. We all know alcohol is a depressant, so a decreased neurological effect. So that meaning your cells and neurons might not fire as fast, because alcohol weakens hand-eye coordination, impairs judgments, and slows down reaction time. So if you drank the night before you have a game, expect your reaction time to be slow, which means that you're going to be slower on the field, on a court, in the water, whatever, because it's also going to slow down your muscle action time. Big issue with performance. So ideally, if you are going to be drinking, because we know a lot of athletes do, you need I would probably say 2 to 3 days, maybe more, to get recovery in, before you have to go perform. If not, you are going to see a decrease in performance the next day or the following day.
And that's what I remember reading, was that it's because it's a sedative, it's going to affect performance up to 48 hours and maybe even 72 in some cases. That's really what I was kind of looking for there. But another piece that I want to bring up too is just alcohol is also going to elongate your recovery period from your training in that week. That includes inflammation, any swelling around some soft tissue, any sprains, cuts, bruises. It's just gonna delay that body's natural ability to treat all those things. And then along with that, not only are you going to get water loss, but in that water loss, you're also going to be depleting your body of crucial minerals like zinc, calcium, potassium, magnesium. So, I think just looking at the raw studies of it, it's pretty easy to say performance, alcohol, no way. They don't go together at all in any case at all. Like if you're going to, and you're going to train Monday through Friday, then sure, you can have a drink or two Friday night, but then nothing on Saturday, nothing on Sunday, and be ready to hit the ground running on Monday again.
Yeah.
In like the only scenario that I see that it works would be that type of balanced scenario. Now, obviously, there are going to be those people who are weekend warriors and it doesn't affect their performance, but I guarantee you zoom out and something's up with their experience.
Yeah.
So I
And
particularly have one client or a couple clients in mind that I know they definitely like to party and it doesn't affect their performance in the gym. But over the last couple of years, they've had 2 or 3 wear and tear overuse injuries. They've put on a good amount of belly fat, and it's been harder for them to reverse the tides, so to
yeah.
speak, and get their gut operating the way they need it, get their fat stores down, and get them metabolizing it appropriately again. So it's just funny because sure, you can get to a state where you're balancing alcohol in a way that you don't see any performance or experience any performance deterioration, but that's only in the way you're looking at things in the short term. And
Right.
if in the long term you think you can get by with having 4 or 5 nights a week of binge drinking, it's gonna come and catch you hard. Because I've been there, and I used to think that I could just outperform and crush things the next day, and it's not the right way to go about things. The science is there to support that alcohol and training do not go hand in hand.
And that's a big issue, especially maybe not in athletes. We know athletes will do their thing. They'll get after it. I mean, after football games on Saturdays, I can remember going out with the team and drinking and all that stuff and having Sundays recovered. But as we move into a general population, as you said, there are many more effects. And people get used to looking at alcohol as calories and numbers. So we're a number-driven society, and we like to see that. But yet they might not understand the full implications of alcohol. And as we've said, studies will say that you can have 1 to 2 drinks and it will blah, blah, blah. It can be healthy. Yes, some elements in red wine can help your heart. But you know what? If you eat a beet, it has the same exact compounds in it. It's just exactly as healthy. It's sort of like, why are we trying to blend the two? But where alcohol becomes the problem is the alcohol itself. It is a poison to all cells in the body. Matt stated that you're going to have issues with fat, gut health, and all this. Alcohol just doesn't affect the brain and make you drunk. Alcohol impedes your gut from absorbing nutrients, minerals. It can actually cause leaky gut syndrome, leading to more effects. It will destroy the gut cells. It will kill cells if you have too much. So now you're creating a whole problem for your system that shouldn't be occurring. With that, as the alcohol gets into the system and metabolizes, it creates this ethanol, and that is the poisonous, and it will go through many more steps, basically creating reactive oxygen species. So for people listening, those are very harmful to our cells. They're like negative charged cells in the body that will just rip and destroy other cells, creating toxic environment leading to disease, fibrosis, inflammation. We can go down the list. And it's going to lead to increase of fat synthesis. So it's going to increase your storage of fat. What alcohol metabolism does is it shuts down gluconeogenesis. So it changes pathways of the mitochondria. And this is where it becomes a problem, because now you're changing what your body wants to be doing. And as it's doing this and changing it, we now create a whole new pathway to work from. So when it blunts gluconeogenesis, it increases fatty acid biosynthesis. So it inhibits fat breakdown, but it increases fatty acids buildup. Then, as you said, you add the sugar to it. Whether you're drinking a sugary drink, the body doesn't know what to do that. So it just says, let's take the sugar, instead of running it through a metabolic process, let's store it as fat. So it's like double fat. You're just increasing it. And obviously, there's a lot here to break down. But at the end of it, people need to understand that alcohol is very poisonous and it will destroy the mitochondrial function, which will also increase aging. So it speeds up the aging process because you're killing these cells that are literally building protection around your body.
And I want to go back to something really quick because you brought up a really good point about how we use numbers, and then I think a lot of people will just think about calories, and I'll hear this a lot. I'm not gonna eat tonight. I'm just gonna drink my calories. That's a really common thing.
Yeah.
And so I mean,
how do I gonna say this? It's smart, but it's dumb. And if you have to say if you have to say
it's
something
simple, it's a simple way of looking at things. Like, oh, calorie, like, duh. I'm just gonna not eat,
right?
And the alcohol will be fine.
So I want to.
Well, but what I guess my point that I'm getting at
go for
is,
your point.
Now that you're eating or now that you're drinking on an empty stomach, it's gonna wreak havoc on your gut lining. It's gonna be absorbed right into your bloodstream. You're gonna spike your blood sugar. You're gonna make your body work really hard at stabilizing itself, and you're going to stress your system. You're going to stress your heart. You're going to stress your kidneys. You're going to stress your liver, and it's just going to you're just doing worse damage than if you ate a good meal and then had a couple drinks.
Right.
Sure, it's going to save you money on alcohol. You're going to get your side effects of feeling loopy sooner, but it's going to do more detrimental long-term damage on the cells and the organs that make your system you.
And love that point. And I think I just like when you say something and my brain starts spinning in this direction, you pull that direction, and it all comes back through because we bounce off. And when I said that it's smart to just have liquid and no eat, yes, I'll explain that. But you're also right at the same time, like 100%. Eat beforehand. Also, I mean, I'm sure everyone's mother said, like, if you're going to go out drinking, make sure you have a good meal to absorb that alcohol. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. But besides, it's not, and people drink upwards of thousands plus calories of alcohol, right? That's a problem, and people look at that. When I go and say that only drinking and not eating is a good thing, is because here's the second way people get in trouble. They might not eat before they go out. They go drinking. What happens when you drink? After a while, you become hungry, right? We've all been there. At 12.
Now you're going to eat something worse than if you had just eaten a good meal. So, that's a good point.
So, yes, you eat something worse. But the biggest problem, and I tell all my clients this, is we just talked about metabolism. It's a poison. Your body's one goal is to get that alcohol out of your system. And if we're talking an hour per drink, but the half-life's 4 to 5 to get it completely out of your system and metabolize all that ethanol from that drink, that's what your body's doing. So anything you put in your system after those drinks, your brain does not care about. It's going to basically say, throw it in the back, I'll deal with it later, store it. Boom. So what happens when people have 6, 7, 8 drinks and then they go eat pizza and wings and all this food because they're hungry, because their body's like, hey, I need food to help me absorb this, because it just gets stored. And that's where a lot of times people get in trouble with excess weight gain. Yeah, of course, it's the calories from the alcohol because they're empty calories and they're useless. But it's the process that you're doing afterward of adding more calories and just saying, I got to throw this in the back of my trunk and deal with it later. That car is going to get heavy. You have excess weight, increase of weight gain. So it's one of these problems where it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But if you are going to go out and have 1 or 2 drinks, Matt is correct. You got to eat a good high protein meal prior.
One of the things that I want to take things next is because we really started with talking about the detriments to performance. So we talked about how alcohol is going to limit your ability to be the best you need to be in whatever scenario that is, whether it's on the ski slopes, whether it's in a game with your team members, or maybe you're just performing in the gym, or riding a bike on your own. Then we led into the way that it could add damage to your cells and store more fat and create throw a wrench in a well operating system. So we talked about a little bit more of the problems, but I think we should be pretty honest here and explain also that, especially drinking on an empty stomach, but drinking in general can cause gastritis, inflammation of your gut lining. And that what that can lead to is then stomach bleeding or intestinal bleeding found in your stool later, right? So this is another major risk factor of consuming alcohol to excess and consuming alcohol without any food in your stomach. Another piece with that comes, with cellular damage comes cancer. And it is absolutely a risk and an increase in risk. And we can, we could look up the statistics right now.
Look it up. So, and I love that you go there, because now that you have this cancer talk, we can increase it into more or less of, okay, now we have, what is cancer? Cancer is a degeneration of cells and buildup of other cells. I mean, system wise, we can have cancer of the brain, liver. I mean, it's going to affect all systems. I'm going to go just in the nervous system right now. If you go into the nervous system with alcohol, you have nerve degeneration. What does that mean? You're going to start breaking down neuronal cells. In that process, people start losing memory. Gray matter of the brain will go down and decrease. So now you're losing capacity of the brain to function. This is what research is also pushing towards, leading as like dementia, Alzheimer's, and memory loss, because we're just killing these cells. And of course, I'm saying with excess alcohol drinking, people have to be careful. If you go out and binge every single week, that can be considered excess and still have an effect on your brain.
So we'll say this in one study, it's on a 10% increase in the risk of getting cancer. But generally speaking, having more than one alcoholic drink a day for women, or more than 2 drinks a day for men, contributes to high blood pressure, which is a risk factor for coronary heart artery disease and could increase your risk of stroke and directly damaging your heart muscle. And then on another point here is regular alcohol use will damage the liver, leading to inflammation and scarring, which can raise the risk of liver cancer, colon and rectal cancer. So we said 10%, and I found a study here that said alcohol is estimated to have caused 750,000 cancer cases in 2020 alone. So whereas these numbers are actually pretty low, there's still an increase. Like I get the understanding of wanting to have a good time versus causing damage. Like, and you only live once, YOLO, right? Like, let me go out and have a good night, but be responsible and just think of the bigger picture. What are you trying to do with your life? Are you a parent? Are you a business owner? Like, how many people rely on you? You're a vehicle, and people want to keep you around. And I think it's so self-serving when people say, oh, well, I need it to have fun, I need it to be fun for other people. It becomes a mental addiction, and now you are getting in the way of you. So live your best life. We're not here to tell anyone how to live their best life. We are here to give the facts about how things are done, and this is the facts around alcohol and exercise. Mm-hmm. They really don't go hand in hand. You can get by, and you're best done doing it when you eat a meal before you go out drinking, and keep your drinks to 2 drinks for the whole night, over getting water in through that time, and don't overdo it. Generally speaking, 2 nights a week, sure, but don't go to 3, 4, 5, 6 nights a week.
And that's the ultimate thing to pull away, is like to recognize what the listeners or yourself, your patterns of alcohol intake are, and how it can be driving your health and fitness in the wrong direction. Now, obviously, we know people are going to go out and drink and do their thing. Now, the biggest thing is, yes, it's going to impede your recovery. Yes, it's going to do that. How do you recover from that? Because that's the next step. If you want to stay healthy and still drink maybe 1 or 2 times a week, there's got to be some important steps that you need to take going after that, because you need to, like Matt said, you're going to lose minerals and vitamins. You need to replenish these things in your body. You need to get your body back onto track. So, if you're out drinking and the next day, this is a lot of my athletes or that I know are going to go out, or like, hey, they have a meeting The next day, obviously, is hydration because alcohol is going to dehydrate you. And then you need to eat good, high-quality foods. That is protein. That is good vegetables. You need to replenish zinc. You need to replenish B12, a lot of B vitamins, vitamin A. I mean, alcohol can affect a lot of minerals and vitamins in the body. So getting those in is very, very important, and not going on a hungover day being like, well, I need to eat fatty junk food because that's what I'm craving. That's not going to help your recovery at all. And it's not going to help your health.
Yeah, and another piece to highlight here is just how our bodies are constantly deteriorating and renewing. I love this. I learned this from Neil deGrasse Tyson. He said, in a single breath of air, there are more molecules than there are breaths of air in the Earth's atmosphere. It's pretty mind-blowing. So if you think about all the molecules that make up a atom, or make up your blood cells or skin or liver or eyebrows, whatever, where do you think it's getting those resources from? It's what you're consuming, what you're putting through your tube from your mouth to your butt, is your body's trying to take those materials, those resources, and build up what the processes that it's already doing. So I wanted to throw these facts out though. 100 billion new red blood cells are born every day. 600,000 particles of skin leave your body every hour. You get a new stomach lining every 5 days, and you get a new liver every 6 weeks. So literally, you are what you eat.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to be consistently putting alcohol in your system so that you have the acidic environment and the damage to the cells for 24 to 48 hours, if you're doing that consistently, so say they have 4 nights a week that you drink on Tuesday, you drink on Thursday, you drink on Saturday. Well, now your body is going to get a compound effect from all that damage, all that inflammation, and all that missing minerals and opportunities to make you a better you. So I want you to really consider that when you think of your drinking schedule and when you think about what you put in your body. I think they are super critical to understanding how you can have a healthy relationship with alcohol and train appropriately. And that's all I got to say. Last thing is just, we do custom program and monitoring for those who are a little bit more on the do-it-yourself end. And then we also have more hands-on support for people who need more assistance. So if you're interested, you can find us at thinkfitnesslife.com, or you can send us an email, thinkfitnesslife@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to get you booked for a consultation call. Other than that, thanks for tuning in to the Think Fitness Life podcast. For more information on additional podcasts or YouTube videos or blogs, you can check out our website. That's www.thinkfitnesslife.com, all one word. And if you're looking for more additional services other than just the do-it-yourself approach, we offer programming, monitoring, and training, where you can get additional information on that at our website as well. Or you can send us a message at thinkfitnesslife, all one word, @gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Well, I hope you enjoyed.
If you're ready to make steps towards improving your health or increasing your performance, book a free 30-minute call today by visiting thinkfitnesslife.com.